Similar story on this side. Granted, we have more pad material, a little bit more, not much. Our spring is still here. That adjuster's shiny-ish, kind of. Adjuster is seized. Alright, got all the tires done, cleaned up, got all the grease off the back best I could. Got an appointment scheduled for this afternoon to get those balanced. Well, here she is. She's all done. At least as far as making it roadworthy again, I would think. One of y'all called this poor van a one-wiper wonder. Well, she's doing just fine, as you can see. New blade on it helps a lot. But it's driving just fine. Alright, we were just at U-Pull and picked ourselves up a wiper transmission is what they listed it as. It makes sense, I suppose. Wiper linkage. We also picked up some Plymouth Voyager emblems. Those are in good shape, so those will be good on the shelf spares for a future project. Otherwise, we're sitting at 180,847 miles. Got an airbag light on still. 4:23 p.m. Van's running good. Time to get her on home. Alright, so we have got some work to do on the 94 Town Country. I've driven it for a week or so now. I've actually owned it 1 week to the day. Well, 8 days now, I guess. We've got quite a few miles on it now, as you can see. If I shut that off, and then trip 437. I should say quite a bit, not really. See if it'll start. Hasn't run in like 2 days. Fire's right up. But I don't want to run it too long here. Sounds good though, doesn't it? Right now that AC pulley is quiet. Comes and goes. Sounds really good right now. But I have learned that the thermostat, I think, is stuck open. So we get good heat when it sits here and just idles. Which is why I was saying it had great heat, because it was sitting here idling while I was working inside it. But going down the road, the temp gauge doesn't seem to get as warm as it should, really. And we lose heat, or we don't lose it, it gets like lukewarm. What is this thing down here? ABS computer, why is there tape on this? Sorry, I'm noticing new things. I don't know. There's a washer fluid cap stuck down there. I saw that too. But it's got coolant. You can see it in there. It's about where it was last time. It's building pressure. This guy drained again. I don't know. Hopefully it's not like eating coolant or something. Wouldn't that be a shame? I think it's a thermostat, is my guess. And yeah, that guy's sitting at about top of the rad, which is about right here. So that's sitting right. Anyway, we're going to replace it because I bought one. It's like 10 bucks. So it's just 2 bolts down here, and hopefully they all come off. And they look pretty clean to me. So I don't think we'll have any trouble with it. But we'll find out. And then we can fix this while we're at it, because we got to pull this thing out of the way. Maybe that's what that guy was doing that for. Maybe he didn't have heat. And maybe he tried the thermostat. And yeah, because when I questioned him on this, he's like, yeah, I was marking him for something. And then he kind of trailed off when he was talking about it. But it is what it is. We'll find out when I pull it apart. Anyway, we'll fix this. But it does have heat when it sits and idles. So it's a circulation thing is what it feels like to me. Because when we're moving down the road is when we have issues. What else did I just see here? What is this? On the manifold? There's writing. Can you get down to see it? No, you can't see it, but do you see it? What's that say? 94 something. So is that manifold replacement or something at some point? I don't know. It's got writing on it right there. whatever. I'm going to pull thermostat off, and we're going to replace it and see what happens. Okay, thermostat's replaced. The gasket I got came with a peelable back. Make sure you peel that off when you put it on. It's got some sort of sticky residue. I'm sure to like flatten the surface that's not so perfect, you know, like RTV does. I always have to notch the gasket here. I don't know if I do something wrong, but I always end up notching the gasket right here. But anyway, it's in there. It's tightened down. Well, it's running. Doesn't look like it's leaking. I did fix a few things. Notice the zip ties are gone. Also noticed the air box was loose. It's broke, but I got it tight, like on the one little bit that's still there. And then this was loose, so I tightened that up too. Otherwise, looks like water pump's flowing. It's sitting here, flowing here. We're waiting for the thermostat to open up. But it's pumping through the heater core and everything. While this is warming up, start taking off this wiper cowling so we can replace the linkage. Just a couple of screws here. Then we'll shut the hood, we'll take the arm off. It's like I can just get this one with the hood open. Kind of a trick to holding the hood up while also getting the cowling kind of fudged out of the way. Kind of dirty out here. We'll have to make sure we get this all cleaned up. But this just pops out. Wiggle it a little bit. It's just clipped in. Cowling's got a crack in it in one spot. I should have grabbed the other cowling. But whatever. There. Get all that stuff out of there. Yeah, right here it's busted. Wonder if they were prying on that thing trying to get it off for some reason. And that's how it broke. And as well as that. I don't know. Linkage is, if we look, where the linkage is sitting, it's pointed this way at us, just for reference. Arm's pointed like that, and then this arm is pointed back at us, kind of. Crap. We got a reference here. Unbolt these, unbolt those, unbolt that one. Should come right out. No problem. Clean all this up, put the new one in, call it a day. So nothing broke off. I did get the linkage out, as you can see. That thing's a press on. This guy is press on to this, and the way it was looking, this was sitting like this, so the linkage was all the way down like that. But still, we didn't have that piece. So, and that guy's about to let go. But yeah, there. So it's a good linkage technically. So. But I don't know what we're going to do with it. Anyway, I'm going to go throw the other linkage in quick. By the way, if your drains don't flow like that, they're clogged. I just spent the last 20 minutes unclogging the side with a screwdriver and stuff. It was so bad. The other side was free. Like the other side, good to go. But this side, it would fill up all the way to the top with water. Very good. Well, I capped off the cooling system. Temp gauge is perfect. Right now, it's hot as can be in here. So, it's working right now, which proves the heater core functions currently. Since this is pressurized, I don't see any leaks back here. Rad hose is starting to build pressure. Good, it's nice and hot. We've unclogged the drains here, got this all cleaned up. Get the new wiper linkage in, verify that all works, put it back together. Didn't see this coming. I got the driver wiper on, got everything back on. The little lockdown bracket is missing off this arm. I didn't see that coming. Okay, so I gotta go get an arm from storage. I have one. I didn't think I'd need it, so I didn't grab it. Dang it. But these are the same, right? Actually, I knew it. So, This takes a 22-inch blade for Town & Countries. The van I pulled the linkage off of had 2 of the same size arm. Clearly, the driver arm on a Town & Country is shorter to account for that 22-inch blade. So if anybody wants to upgrade their Caravans, you need a driver wiper arm. So I'm assuming that this is the same. I'll bring this with me and figure that out. So I figure next thing we're going to tackle here is the rear wiper motor. And while we're in here, because we'll have this off, we're going to replace the grommet with the Dorman replacement. Now the fun part's going to be getting this arm off. This guy is always seized on here. So I'm going to fight this for a bit, tap on it, maybe I can get it to come loose. Please note the smoke coming off of this. Got it to come off finally. So it snapped this, broke this guy off, but hey, we didn't shatter a windshield. So need a different rear wiper arm. That's okay, we can manage that. And obviously the motor, which now I can get out. So here's the old wiper motor. Clearly I destroyed it while I was trying to get the arm off, but there it is, it's out. I'm gonna go see if I got one on hand. Otherwise I will grab the one that is out with the other wiper arm I have in storage, but we'll see if I have one here first. Alright, remanufactured motors, and I had one on the shelf. Seems like it's new, to be honest with you. So that's us. Oh, keys in pocket. Try this again. I assume that should be working right now. You doing anything? I would think that it would be doing something. It's on. I see the green light. And currently, it is doing nothing. Never said that it was a good wiper motor. I just said that I had one. Hello? Something tells me that it doesn't work. Does the sprayer work? Don't hear anything. Yeah, wipers, the front turns on, so realistically it should work. Sprayer doesn't work. Damn you. Confirm that wiper motor is junk with a drill battery and some wiring. So that's good. I can throw that away now. Okay, so I just got back from the storage unit. I found one of these that isn't broke off, as you can see, fixed. I also, we shut the hood. Let's do that. Got a wiper arm that is working. So we will test that here in a second. I got the keys in my hands. There we go. Turn the headlights on so you guys can see. Look at that. We have 2 wipers. No longer a one wiper wonder. New linkage works, wipers work. And what I'm realizing here is, so up to 93 still uses, it looks like, the older style arms with the, like, the little peg on it. But when I was taking the linkage off of that 95 Caravan, both arms were the same, and Caravans take 18-inch blade and an 18-inch blade. And what I'm learning is the Town & Countries spec a shorter driver wiper arm to run a 22-inch blade. So I think if you want to upgrade your Caravan, I think you get a driver Town & Country arm, which I have a spare, by the way, out of the old 94 still. And you install that and you can run a 22-inch blade. Something worth noting, because obviously you get more wiping with the blade like that. So that's all cool. That works. I also grabbed the floor mats. Remember how our old one here had a hole in it? Remember how bleached out ours was? And I'm like, and then I had these mats. I'm like, they're the wrong color though. I'm like, they're totally not. They totally work just fine because they're the same color as the bleached out one that I took out, but it also had that hole in it. So new driver mat, new passenger mat, new mat here, new mat there, and then I have got one spare that would have been for the rear, but we already had 2 mats in the rear. So I rolled it up, threw it back there. Yeah, I got the air box there. I'll put that in at some point, but now I have it in here. And we need to get a rear wiper motor, so that sucks because I don't have one. Anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. I did actually get something done today, so we got driver's wipers working, and we got floor mats, and we also changed the thermostat. Very good. Okay, so I got a headlamp on. I got to work at night here. So, I went to U-Pole today. Noticed the marking on this lock actuator. I got the old one out. It's 2 8mm screws right there. And this one we did test working. You got to have it grounded out to test it, by the way. So I'm going to screw this one in, and we should have a working lock button for a trunk release. I did try to get a wiper. I did get a wiper motor that I ruined, but hopefully the motor part is good and I can make this one work. But we'll see. All the wiper arms, the 2 that were at the yard, they were both seized, so I'm gonna have to buy one online because everything that comes into the yard is gonna be seized on there. And I actually broke the rear glass off of one of them trying to get it out, you know, naturally, right? Well, I got it in there. Moment of truth is tightened down. I shut the lock by hand. As you can see, it is shut. Let us go press the button. Turn the key on. Did you hear that? Let's open. Look at that, it works. Let's go. Fixed another thing. Now, get this wiper motor assembly back off. Make sure that the 2 I have, this one, this reman one that's broke, and the one I bought will mesh together after I test that one. Actually, I'm going to test the other one first before I do this, and we'll see if we can make 2 out of 1. So I tested this motor wrong. It works fine. I don't know. I might have had the positive, negative backwards, because it does matter, clearly, because you got one positive going to the motor, and then the motor's grounded. It can't be vice versa. But, so I tested here, and let's see if I can get it, because this thing's got paint all over it, so it's hard to actually do this. Not to mention I'm doing this one-handed. Oh. Almost had it. Oh, you saw it, right? See that? Works fine. Grab that off of there. That motor also works, so I will save that for parts. So there's a wiring issue in the van, naturally. I gotta figure that out then. Just like I did on the 93, which I don't know. Yeah, you all have probably seen that by now. We had to do the same thing on the 93, and I think I'll have to run an extra ground or an extra power wire. We'll see. Well, maybe I should have tried the easy thing first. I couldn't get that motor to work at all. The one we just tested working, that reman one. So, and I tried grounding it by hand. That didn't do anything, like a jumper wire. So I'm like, why don't we just check the fuses? I figured if that light was on the button, that it would work. Clearly, that gets power from something else. So I went down to the relays, and I'm like, rear wiper and airbag, 13. And look who's blown. Oh, great. Now I'm going to go find a 30 amp mini fuse, put that in there, and we're going to find out if that rear wiper motor that was having the park issue popped this fuse, which turned on the airbag light. And that reman motor hopefully will fix that. Otherwise, there's something else happening. But I'm betting you that motor we had that had the park issue popped the fuse. So I'll go replace this quick. That'll clear the airbag light that has been on. Now we have solved 2 problems. Nice. Well, I found a 20 amp, because it's supposed to be a 20 amp, not a 30, by the way. So they were masking the problem before. So let's pop a 20 in here. See if it pops, or the airbag pops. Ready to find out? Airbag lights out. That was quick, and the airbag didn't pop. Hear that? I gotta put my grommet back in. But look at that, it works, and it goes back. So we solved two problems. We fixed the wiper motor, fixed the airbag, all in one go. Isn't that nice? Alright, so I just finished getting the hatch all back together. There's something weird with the trunk ajar sense, so I kind of bent the tab out of the way. I'd rather it not work than erratically stay on. Also notice it's adjusted kind of weird. See how it's been rubbing bottom there? I don't know if the plastic was up or what, but it was rubbing at some point. Anyway, I got this all on, and the name of this game is, this one is Beat to Heck, and it's busted in 10 spots, so it's kind of just cobbled back together. I didn't make it any worse, how about that? But that's how it goes with the 90s plastic sometimes. Unless you got a really low mile one, or one that sat in the garage, 100% of the time, or didn't get beat on. This is usually how she goes. But hey, it's all in one piece, it's on there. And most importantly, everything seems to work now. Well, except maybe the ajar light, which is currently working because the lights are on. Or is the driver door open? The driver door's open. But if we go ahead and turn that on, we can see that this works. And it goes back. So if I turn this up and I hit that sprayer, we should see water here. If there's anything in the sprayer, I can hear it pumping. So, yeah, look at all the water we got. So it does work. This all functions now. Clearly we don't have a wiper arm, but I'm going to order one. And then when you put a new one on here, anti-seize the heck out of this. As much anti-seize as you can physically get in there. And then I'll put a new one on, and that will be that. But we have fixed all of these electronics. How about that? Turn that off. And the airbag light's off. Nice. There, how about that? Got this guy off of there. So, one of these guys pulled out, but that's fine. They need to come out anyway. So, it's got some stick-on adhesive here that needs to get scraped off. And then we got to pop these 3 threads out of it. They're just rubber with a thread in the center. Get those out of there. And then we got to seal this up somehow. I'm thinking, to be honest with you, for now, I think I'm going to get some painter's tape and just put something over it so we don't get water in here. So I'll have to clean the surface off quick. Long term, probably some fiberglass, I would think. And then touch it up with a paint pen or something. But, remember how we said that hatch was rubbing? If you look here, the hatch is sitting way low. Notice this? So we're going to have to adjust the hatch up. And it's on both sides, by the way. So we'll have to adjust the hatch up. But we'll cross that road later. I think I'm going to clean this up. Well, it's going to be too cold. I'll try clean it up, but... I'll put some painter's tape or something over those holes. But that looks a lot better. If anybody needs a spoiler for their 90s Caravan, I have one. So, I think that's the last thing I'm going to do tonight. It's cold, it's getting late, but I got something done today. There's no way this is a factory option, is there? What? Did I just take off a factory spoiler? What? That's a Pentastar. Well, that's what I came up with for now. 2 strips of duct tape. That'll at least keep moisture out. But, hey, if anybody knows if that was like a factory dealer, I shouldn't say factory. There's no way Chrysler did that from the factory. If that was a dealer add-on that anybody knows about, I'd like some information on that. Because that's got a Pentastar on it. And clearly it's been up here a long time. And it wasn't a bad job when it was done. I mean, the paint's nice under here. Like, it's perfect. For having the entire roof peeled right here where it was exposed to sunlight. That's been on there a long time. and it's got a Pentastar on it. I don't want it on my van. I'm going to tell you that right now. But, yeah. If anybody's got information on whether that was like a dealer add-on, I couldn't find anything. I'll have to do some more research. I couldn't find one that matched what that looked like, but yeah, that's kind of crazy. That, just like the, you know, the front, they've got the front lit spoilers, or not spoilers, but bug deflectors. That's all Mopar stuff. But like, I've never seen a factory rear spoiler, besides like the 3rd gen Sport editions or whatever. Yeah, if anybody's got info on that or knows anything about that, or if that was just a knockoff and they put a Pentastar on it anyway, even though they probably shouldn't have been doing that, but, you know, I don't know. I've never seen that before. Well, 18906 on the 94 Town Country. We were about to take it in, and we're actually going to pick up a van for my brother. It's a 2014 Grand Caravan, I believe. But we're going to take this in, and it decided to start pissing coolant. And remember that water pump bolt I was talking about that was missing because they broke it off? You might be able to see the gleam of the coolant down there. It is now currently leaking around that broken water pump bolt. See that gleam right there? That's where that missing bolt is, and that's where it's leaking from. So it needs a water pump, and needs the timing cover off to get that bolt extracted or whatever. So, well, guess I'm parking this again. And the 05 is back in service. Damn it. Alright, I'm going to stand here to stay out of the wind, but we've got ourselves a new old stock Mopar rear wiper arm for a 2nd gen Town & Country. This one only has 1 wiper nozzle instead of 2, but this is all I could find. So this thing came out of Florida, right? Funny enough, this thing came out, I don't know, I'm not going to show it to you because they might like ban me from YouTube for showing personal information or whatever, but I got this out of Florida off of like an eBay seller, and on the sticker here it says Adams Motor Company, West Highway 212, Montevideo, Minnesota. So this thing originally was from Minnesota, this old wiper arm, and then it made its way down to, who knows, through sales and whatever. But I'm gonna put it on quick. I'm getting anti-seize everywhere because this thing leaks, so we're gonna anti-seize this up, throw this bad boy on, and put a blade on it, and call it a day. Yeah, look at this, anti-seize everywhere already. That's how that goes. How about that? I had to actually go down and dig in my pile of wipers to find the right piece here, because this has got the, I don't know what, there's a Trico design and there's a different design. This is one of them. This has got the little stud on it. So I had to go find a different clip. But, bam, it's on there. Brand new. It's anti-seized to heck. It'll never seize up again. Let's see if it works. So, I'll point you guys that way towards Eggplant. Turn the keys on here. Turn that off. Turn that off. Hey, look. It sprays. And it wipes. Look at that. It does what it's supposed to. Wow, crazy. Alright, cool. There's something completed. Now I need to buy some more of those arms for some other vehicles, if I can find them. That one took me a while to find. So, we finally got the 94 Town & Country in the garage here. I know it needs a water pump. I know that for sure. And it's leaking actively now. But I wasn't driving it for another reason or two, and I kind of don't remember all that much. I poked my head in here. We've got a bunch of parts. So we've got a water pump, 2 pulleys, oil pan gasket, and then a timing cover set right there. So that's the first job. We did finish the wipers, so I think that's a spare. And then I've got a new air box because our clips are all broke off on mine, so we can replace this. This fell off of the van a couple weeks ago. I saw it sitting there. So, you know, that's cool. That's the lift point on the rocker. And then over here, I think, yeah. So this is wheel cylinders and stuff because the rear brakes are leaking. I recall that. I think that was why I wasn't driving it, because it needed rear brakes. Go back here. Got a pile of parts. It looks like, I think these are drums. There's 2 drums there. Oh yeah, tie rods. That's what it was. It needs a tie rod set. I remember now. And then I got intake gaskets that we may or may not do. This is why. That's right. Tie rods. It's got a loose tie rod. So we were gonna do all 4. I remember this. What's in here? Oh, an oil change. It still hasn't gotten an oil change. There's oil. There's a filter right there. Transmission fluid. It needs a trans fluid change. Looks like I have CV axles. Were we gonna do CV axles? Apparently. And then there's brake shoes. Okay, apparently I bought more parts than I thought. So I guess we're doing everything. That's fun. Okay. We've got fog lights. This is a wiper arm. Was. No, it's not. I remember this. This is a new emblem we're going to put on the back hatch. This isn't accurate to what it was technically, but this is a Chrysler emblem for a 1990 first-gen Chrysler Town Country. This is new old stock. It's brand new. I think that looks nicer than they're like italics on the ones we have. I also bought this because I wasn't sure if I was going to do that, like an older style Chrysler. We're going with that for sure. How many miles this thing got on it? 189.06, just under 181. Oh, okay. Try to get out of here. Okay, it's finally time to do this water pump and the timing cover and everything that comes apart with it. I'm going to have you on time-lapse mode the whole time. I'm just going to plug away at this, but I'll give you a quick rundown on what we're doing. We've done this before. We have to get at this timing cover down here and physically get it off of the front of the motor. That's going to require removing all of these hoses, accessories, whatever. Get your coil pack out of the way, make it easier to get down here. Get your heater hoses off, which means you got to drain your coolant. You also have to have the oil pan off, which means you got to drain your oil. And then you got to get after you get the oil pan off, you're going to get a block down here. Get up on the transmission rate. I like to get up in here because you got to be able to support this motor in some way. You could also probably tie off to this and have it on a hoist. But you got to get this motor mount off and out of the way because there's a plate that bolts on top of the timing cover. That's got to come off. I like to pop this guy out of the way because you got the coolant drained anyway. Gives you a little more room in here. Get all the vacuum stuff out. And that should give you access to timing cover, all timing cover bolts. But then you got to pull off the crank, pulley, or harmonic. It's a press-on. So I like to use a 2-leg chicken leg puller. I'll show you that. With a 15 mil socket punched on the end of it. Other than that, we also got to make sure we got to have the belt off to do the belt drive and all of the pulleys and whatnot. And then sometimes, depending if your AC is charged, ours is charged, so I'm going to leave the AC hooked up. I'm going to try to just push it out of the way and just unbolt it and get it off to the side. So otherwise, if it's not charged, your system's unsealed, it's easy to just pull these lines off, get them out of here. But we're going to have to leave them in our case. Other than that, that's about it. Well, let's get the dust shield off here, or the belt shield. And notice the boneyard writing right here on this harmonic. So either it's got a new harmonic or somebody's been here. Well, somebody's clearly been here, but the harmonic was replaced at the very least. But up under this cover, I see some yellow writing on the cover too. We'll see what that says later. Cover's pretty clean, to be honest with you. Otherwise, if you look right here, you can see our problem. All of the leak around this water pump, which I bet you I can show you that broken bolt from the last guy. Yeah, see it right there? They either didn't put that bolt in or it snapped off flush in the timing cover like it usually is. Anyway, it decided, 800 miles after I got it, that it was time to start leaking. Naturally. Why wouldn't it? But there's our problem. That's what we're chasing. So we'll get the belt off here first. We'll get the water pump pulley off, and we'll see what we're looking like there. And then we'll go from there. I'm going to pop this hose off, get the coolant drain. I got a pan here. That's what we're chasing. Alright guys, so there's your water pump. You guys notice that one looks pretty shiny, doesn't it? And if you look right here, I'm seeing it for the first time. Right there, they busted that bolt off flush. Nice. So that water pump, to be honest, for a new water pump, it had a little bit of a wobble to it when I had to pull it. Yeah, it's already wobbly, and that's a new pump too. But I bet you that pump wasn't leaking. Well, we know what the pump was, and you see where it was leaking. They didn't use enough RTV when they decided to go without a bolt, clearly. But that's not one you can get in here and drill at, unless you got some fancy tools. I don't. So, you could probably try welding that to it, but it's seized in the aluminum, so. I think we're gonna keep going the original route, and we're gonna pull the timing cover off, and we'll inspect in there and do everything, do our due diligence, and do it right. Why not? And then it's all sealed up. But yeah, so somebody put a new water pump on it, and they botched the job. I doubt it was the guy that I bought it from. I bet you it was the flipper that he bought it from. So that wouldn't surprise me. But you never know. So they broke a bolt off, and they didn't even use RTV to fix it. You know, to be honest, that probably wouldn't have leaked if they'd used a bunch of RTV. But there you go. They broke that one off flush. I don't even think that's one of the through-bolted ones. I had to heat up this bottom one, though, to get it to come back off again. So that'll be fun getting out. Yeah, I guess it makes it easier for me. I don't have to clean up their mess, but yeah, if they'd have used RTV, I don't think it would have leaked. Okay, so we got the inspection cover off. 2 10s and an 18, and this 18 is always so tight whenever I take these off. This one was loose, so that's weird. Notice the yellow paint that we were talking about here and then up there. And I'm back here. I've already got all the oil dropped out of this thing. What's that sticker mean right there? I don't think we're going to be able to decipher any writing off of it. But there's a sticker on the oil pan. Is that white paint up there? What is that? What does that mean? Alright, so I'm just doing my under inspection, kind of just looking at everything. If you peek up here, I'm trying to decipher what's been changed in this drivetrain, because something has. Something's been out of here for sure. If you look up there, look at that shiny looking motor mount. The trans mount's been replaced. So interesting. And we already knew that this shift solenoid was newer-ish. So that's at least been done once. That one looks kind of newer, that speed sensor, kind of. The white plastic. This is RTV'd like a lot, so is this. Yeah, like that's a lot of RTV there. I mean, I know that's factory, but like, is that factory RTV? You know what I'm saying? There's a gasket on the pan, so the trans pan's at least been out. This motor mount is old, I know that. So is the motor mounts are old, so I don't know. Maybe it is the trans that's been done. I don't know. Or at least been out. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell, and there's obviously no receipts or anything. But that tag's interesting for sure. I don't know what that means. Unless like a shop has put those on for some reason. Let me know. Alright, so the oil pan looks okay. A little bit of sludge in the bottom, but nothing like too terrible anyway. Looking at the gasket here, this is an OEM gasket, 4448898 or 8896, I believe. That's an OEM part number, but it's an OEM part number listed for 2003 to 2011 Chrysler 3.8. So it's potentially a newer 3.8 gasket. I don't know what that means, but that is something to note, that is a newer part number from what I can tell. Unless somebody has somewhere to look that's better than me. But it appears to be a 2003 to 11 Chrysler 3.8 oil pan gasket. So, interesting, I guess. Alright, we got this whole front motor mount out, got the fuel rail out, got all the accessory pulleys out besides the AC. Alternator's out of the way, power steering reservoir's pushed out of the way. Remember that little bit of writing we could see? Yeah, now we can see it. What do you think that means? The only way that writing could have got there is if this motor mount was out, and there's no way somebody's getting in here with a Sharpie and writing anything legible. That cover was out at the very least. I'm thinking we may or may not have a non-original motor. Or at least one that was rebuilt. I need to look up where the VIN number is stamped on this thing. I need to find it. But somebody's been here at the very, very, very least. I don't think this hose is OEM either. I think this is aftermarket. OEM clamps on it though. But there might be writing here. I'll have to look. There's some white writing here. So it could be. I can't tell. It's pretty pliable though if it's an OEM hose. That's nice. But that right there is interesting. I'm going to Google that number just for the heck of it and see if I get any hits or anything. I don't think so. If anything, it's inventory number for a junkyard. It'd be my guess. Interesting. Well, I put in some extra effort to take things out that probably didn't need to come out. I got that alternator bracket out, and I got the tensioner out of the way. Gives a good access look back here. I'm thinking I bought the intake gasket kit. I'm this far into it. I might as well just seal that up too. I might want to pull the plugs out in the rear just to see how they look. See if they're worth replacing, considering how far we're into it. Alternator is new, I don't have to worry about that. And then we can clean all these brackets up. That valve cover gasket needs done, so we're going to do that. It's getting a full service. Wow, surprising. It needed it. Allegedly, there's a serial number and a VIN number on the back corner of the block up there. So with the intake off, we might be able to see that too. You probably would if it wasn't an all-wheel drive. But we're about ready. Everything's disconnected from the cover. This is out of the way, kind of. It should work for what we're doing. I got to get the pickup tube undone. That's a 13 mil. And then I got to get the cam sensor out, which is unbolted. Hopefully I don't snap that boss off. I have a new cam sensor, I think, so we might be okay if something happens, but hopefully we don't. And then we need to pull the crank pulley off and then just unbolt the cover, and that's it. So it's exposed, it's ready to go. So we'll get that all out, and then I think we'll start unbuttoning this up here too. Well, there she is. It's out. Those O-rings look really good. This O-ring's stuck here. I don't see anything too obvious. There's a marking right there. I don't know if that's factory or not. Looks like OEM cam sprocket based on the number. I'm sure the crank sprocket's OEM too. I don't see any reason they wouldn't be. Chain. It's not the tightest chain in the world, that's for sure. That's on the slack side, so tensioned over here. So you can see the little guy that would be here originally is not. I don't know if it came in this motor or if it just still had the bosses on them, because I know they revised that and removed it. But it doesn't look terrible by any means. Going through, and since we're going to pull all this off, we're going to do a full service reseal on pretty much everything. Well, everything besides the rear main seal. So it'd be good to have this done. I'm going through and I'm kind of picking out things that we need to buy, like a PCV valve and throttle body gasket, the EGR gasket down below, etc., etc. And I pulled the plug out. We're looking at the plugs. So these are Champions. They've been in there a little while, but I don't think they've had that many miles put on them, as you can see. They've definitely had some. But, here, focus again. They look okay to me. I've had ones at this mileage that wore completely. Electrode was gone, and it still ran. Looking up there, that piston's pretty well at the top. Pretty gross in there. But these 3 plugs look the same. I'm going to take a peek at the back. If the back 3 plugs look the same, I'm going to run these. But I will make sure they're tight. This one was pretty loose, actually. If I get them there. Maybe. And the wires are CarQuest wires, so I bet you they were done at the same time they did the plugs. So we don't need any of that, which saves money. There. Got him kind of started. We'll tighten him back up when I tighten the rest. Those 3 all look the same. We'll get back around here and we'll poke our head in at that one and see what he looks like. Because these will be the 3 that don't get changed if they're not going to change them. Yeah. What's he look like? And somebody greased these, so I have kind of a little bit of confidence they were done. What's that look like? He looks pretty shiny. I'll pop him out real quick. We'll see what he looks like. Well, they're the same, but they're not. This is plug number, what was that, 6? And this is number 1. So they're both Champions. They're both 14 MC5s. This one is clearly newer than that one is. This gap is 050, and this gap is like 055. So I think they need to be re-gapped, if nothing else. I think I will pop them all out. I'll look at them all. But they look okay. We'll just make sure they're gapped right. I can't remember if it's 050 or 045. I'll have to look that up quick. But, you know, you got your little gapper. It's easy enough to do. We'll just make sure they're right. I don't want to pay $5 a plug times 6. So, you know. Well, that didn't take me too long, about 20 minutes like I figured, but right there we've got more junkyard numbers, and that is the exact same number that was on the timing cover, P59410. I am 99% certain this is a junkyard motor, reman motor of some flavor. There's a bell housing bolt missing down here that I noticed earlier. See that one? There should be a bolt right there, and there isn't. Let's pop up here. I gotta scoop some more of that out. I got a lot of it out. Still gotta get the lower intake out, but there, we're up here. Easy access. The last 2 plugs. This valve cover gasket needed done. This fell off the vacuum line. I broke one of the vacuum ends off, but whatever. Yeah, look at this leak right here. That needed done. Looks like a small exhaust leak, doesn't it, right there? Maybe. Probably indicating those aren't too tight. Good luck, those would snap off now. And I've noticed a lot of the little connector ends were all broke and stuff. I'll probably put a wrench on this and just make sure the manifold bolts are all tight since somebody's been here. But we're pretty well tore down. I guess good maybe that we've got a reman motor, maybe? I don't know. We don't know the mileage on the motor, so. But it's funny they didn't do the 2 motor mounts, but they did a trans mount at some point. Like, that's a new trans mount in there, I think. I'm certain that's a new trans mount. It's got a paper tag on it, doesn't it? Right there, see that? Yeah. Yeah, it's got a paper tag on it. Does that have any writing left on it or nah? Nah, it's definitely been done. So, yeah, the intake looks pretty clean. I got stuff dropped down there, as you can see. I'll have to get the vacuum. I'll try to suck that out quick. That, or I'll just suck it out of the pistons when I get the lower intake out. That might be easier that way. But it looks pretty clean, surprisingly. This one's a little oily, but, you know, they're not too bad. And we just put that thermostat in, so we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, just get a good degreasing. Probably get some fluid film in these crevices here. Get all this cleaned out since we're in here. We got her tore pretty well apart. Alright, we got her all tore down as far as we're going, and we might be in the direction of a lower mile motor. Look how clean these are. Look at that. There's usually lots of carbon and stuff in here as usual, but it's an EGR motor, so that happens. But, here, I'll flip it upside down. These are spotless. Okay, that one's got a little bit, but not really. That's really clean. So, that's a good sign, I think. But everything looks okay. I don't see any issues. Alright guys, this is going to be quick. If you look right there, in a place where you can't write without the trans being out, that is that same P59410 written on the back of the motor. Yeah, she's a reman, or a junkyard motor for sure. Alright, got all the plugs re-gapped to 50 thousandths. They'll all look pretty good. We're going to throw them back in quick. Alright, I got the valve cover surfaces cleaned up. We don't have the gasket, so we're not going to do that. But I'll be able to set the covers on. But we got the lower intake all cleaned up. That's what it's going to be. I'm going to get the gasket ready, get some sealer for the water jackets, get that all sealed up. And then we'll get that on there, and then we will be able to... Oh, I should clean the lower intake before I even think about doing that. So I'll get the lower intake all cleaned up, scrubbed down. Then we will do as I just said. I did get this vacuum hose rerun, that really bad one. That was a pain in the butt to cut that clip down there. Now it's a screw-on clip. It's done, it's run. Went overkill and used fuel injection hose because that's what I had in that size. I got that coolant hose right there, that little elbow replaced because it broke coming off. Otherwise, that's all been flushed, that's all buttoned back up. Yeah. Oh, and I got all the plugs in and tightened down. And they're all gapped properly, like I said. So they're all gapped 50 thou, which says right up here. Alright, got the intake cleaned up. I've got the new gasket obviously on there. RTV around the 4 water jacket points. And it is tightened down in sequence. Bam, 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 whatever. And then you do it a couple times, and you just tighten it down until she's good and tight. So that ain't going nowhere. It's all cleaned up. I've got the valve covers cleaned. I'm gonna set the back one on just to keep dust and stuff off of there. All right, got the front valve cover painted, as you can see. I got the oil pan cleaned up. Went to peel this sticker off. As you can see, that sticker was like a warranty, like void if removed sort of sticker. See how it leaves behind this? So if anybody recognizes that, if that means anything to anybody, yeah, I mean, we already knew it was a reman engine or a, junkyard engine, but I'm just gonna spray right on over it. And then that pan will be cleaned up. It'll be ready to go. And that'll be that. Next, like I said, I'm gonna keep scrubbing away at these brackets and stuff, but we're gonna get the timing cover cleaned up, ready to go, and then I gotta drill that bolt out for the water pump, and then get that all prepped, and then we can bolt the water pump to the new timing cover before we put it in. Okay, so I got my whole workspace cleaned up. I even got the hood down on the van. And I got everything cleaned up and swept and all the brackets cleaned and painted. So working on the last thing here, which is the timing cover. And we're working on our bolt here. This is a through bolt, by the way. They're all through except for this one. I've got a pilot hole drilled here. As you can see, I'm about to step up one size. And then we're going to try an easy out. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll just, worst case scenario, we'll just drill it out until we can put new threads in it. Worst case scenario, so no big deal. But I think with a little heat and an easy out, I think we'll be able to get it. Well, lucky break, quite literally. So there's our hole that's drilled out. There's our drill bit that's snapped off. I felt it punch through, and then it came out like that. It broke as it busted through the back side of the bolt. Okay, whatever. I'll pull that out, I guess, and we're going to soak this, heat it up, and cross our fingers. We'll be able to either get it to spin out this way or spin out that way. I don't really care which way it goes, as long as it does. All right, so we're out here on the donor 3.3 liter spare motor that I always rob bolts and parts off of. The poor thing. Anyway, I need a water pump bolt. Clearly, I've been here a time or two. I'm thinking we'll go for this one. I got the torch with me. I'm going to heat this up real quick and just crack that one off. All right, I just got it kind of just test fitting here. Just make sure everything lines up all right. I'm going to take it back off when I scrub and clean this cover tomorrow. But proof of concept, as you can see, we've got our water pump on here with 5 bolts. I did tap every hole. I chased all the threads on the bolts as well. And I've just got it snugged up on here quick. So looking pretty good. We have solved the original issue. And I mean, what more is there to say? We have a water pump that should not leak. I will RTV it anyway. All right, we're back next day. We got our parts in. I've been busy here. I've got both valve covers on. I got the new gaskets on, tightened down. Fuel rail is in and on. Vacuum harness is kind of in there. Fuel rail harness is in there. Got the new PCV valve in there as well. Alternator's kind of rerouted so the harness is in the right place for the intake. What else did we do? A couple other things, I think. Oh, yeah, I got the timing cover. Got this guy right here. I got him all cleaned up. He's ready to go. And on this side, we got our water pump bolted down. Got RTV on there and the O-ring. Good to go. I got to replace this hose right quick. That is an original Mopar hose that is being replaced. I will sell this on eBay. It's a numbers matching hose. $600 or best offer. Otherwise, I still got to clean up down here. Oh, yeah, I got the chain on. That is the thing I forgot about. Yeah, the first thing I did is I took cam sprocket off after we got our marks lined up, or our cam and crank sprockets lined up. There's 2 arrows there. It's kind of off now because I took the slack out of it. That's a little better. You could tell a little bit when holding the 2 in hand. Anyway, you got a link there with a dot, and up there is a matching one. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in between. Anyway, we're good to go. She's in time. Like I said, I'm going to clean up this surface here, get that gasket prepped, get the timing cover on, and then we'll move to the oil pan, get the whole thing sealed up, and then we'll work on putting her back together. Alright, progress update here. We made some good progress. I got that timing cover all cleaned up. Look how nice that looks. And then we got it also bolted down, torqued to spec. We have the crank seal on there. We got the water hoses on, all three of them, the one on the backside and the one that goes up to the intake that you can't see because the hood is shut. Otherwise, we've been working on our intake right here. And we've got this guy off. I've already had the EGR off. This has already been resealed, cleaned up. EGR does work. Throttle body's off here, but if you notice, that is the mass airflow sensor, I believe, right? Notice something here? See how rusty that is? I didn't do that. What you also notice here is all this corrosion. What I think happened here is I think this corrosion got in here and like pushed up on the sensor and actually popped the head off of this bolt or screw. So I noticed it because it was kind of sticking not flush because I was getting ready to take the throttle body off and clean it, which we haven't done yet. But now we got something else to deal with here. As well as that, I gotta find an O-ring for that and clean him up so he seals better. What you want to do is you want to clean that head off all that carbon there. Keeps it from sealing properly, and that's where you get like a weird idle. Anyway, that's where we're at now. Alright, so it's been a few days. Finally got some motivation here to work again, and we're looking at the upper intake. Except this isn't the one that came off of the van. If you remember, ours was all corroded here. This one is all speckled and corroded everywhere. This is the old intake off of the wood grain 94 from 2023. And as you can see, it's flaking pretty bad too. But I took some time here and I scrubbed this thing down. And remember, that motor was blown, so I took some time and I flushed out the insides with some, I used some super clean, kind of scrubbed where I could, filled it with super clean, flushed it out with water, filled it with brake clean, flushed it out, got it till it was running clear, which there was a lot of oil in here from the blow-by on that engine. And the EGR and everything, that thing at 256,000. Anyway, I got this thing cleaned up probably better than the intake that came off of this van. And as you can see, this one's still pretty rough. The idea is to maybe make it look a little nicer. And I'm gonna try something dumb. I've got some metallic chrome paint. It's not as chrome as you would think, but I think I'm gonna hit it with this. And at least it'll be an even color. It's more gray than chrome in my opinion. But I got an old gasket here to cover up this gasket surface. And I'm just going to hit everywhere on top here. And we'll see how it turns out. Otherwise, I've still got the other intake if it is a fail. But we'll see. Well, that was certainly a choice. I don't know if I like it yet. I don't know. We'll see what it looks like when it's on the vehicle. It kind of brings out some of the pitting. I did scrape some of the corrosion off before I hit it. But I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. I think it's better than the corrosion for sure, but we'll see what it looks like when it's on the vehicle. Alright, I got it bolted up here. I think I like it. I painted it chrome because I didn't have any like factory-ish silver on hand or gray. This is what I had. I think it turned out okay. It's definitely better than the aluminum corrosion that will eventually come back because I just sprayed over it, you know, naturally. But for now, I would say that it looks a lot better. Kind of matches this, right? And that. So, I think we did all right. All right, so I've got the intake, all 4 bolts tightened down here. I got the 15 mil on that bracket done. We've got all of our hoses hooked up. This one's hooked up. All the vacuum lines back here. We've got our new line right here. Got the EGR stuff all in. Got the 2 bolts for the EGR with the new gasket in. I got the wire harness clipped up on the back. Got the O2 sensor clipped in here. The MAP is plugged in, or MAP with a P is plugged in. Plug wires are routed properly. I would say the intake is all ready to go. I've got the new airbox cleaned up, one that doesn't have all the broken plastic bits on it. I got to get the throttle body cleaned up, the one that doesn't have the broken bolt in it, aka the one off the 94 that this intake came off of, which is not this fan. Otherwise, yeah, we're pretty well buttoned up on the intake. Just get this done, get this in, that's all done. Okay, I got talked into this, but that looks really, really good. Red lettering with black accents going around. I think that looks pretty sharp. Definitely makes it pop. Otherwise, I got the boot on and everything. The upper intake's all done. We're all done over here. Oh, I'm not done. I gotta put this on real quick, but you know. Come on, get on there, buddy. There, now it's done. So now we're done over here. We gotta start working up here. Gotta get this motor mount on, most importantly, so we can get the motor back up and off of this jack so we can put the oil pan back on. And that's pretty well it, and then it's just all the accessories here. So I'm going to start plugging away, getting this all started to bolt back up. AC's got to get bolted back up, etc., etc. And I'll bring you back when we're all done. Alright, we're making some progress here. Got this brace bar back in. Power steering reservoir is all bolted back in. Alternator's bolted up. But I was playing around. We had a package come in. I haven't really tried the fluid film black, and I don't know why I haven't, but I bought the box for Christmas for myself, and it came with this little spray gun. The problem I always have with these cans is whenever you just use the can, it gets all over my hands, and I hate doing it because of that. This thing makes it way easier. I don't know, it feels kind of flimsy when you clip it on, but it works. So, and for the price I paid, this was practically free with it. It also comes with a little wand that's got the 4-spray nozzle that, you know, you stick up in the frame and it sprays everywhere. Anyway, I was testing it because we had a little bit of rust on this seam here. So I sprayed that all down, sprayed that brake line. That looks pretty good, and the fuel lines. And then I came up under here, and I sprayed this all down. And with the black, you can actually tell that the coating is still there, and it looks good. You know, like you're doing like a spray undercoating, which is what this is, but it's lanolin based. But I think it looks better than the regular fluid film. And, you know, just as an example, it sprays really nice. There, now there's no rust here. None. So that's my plan, is to undercoat this whole thing with this stuff eventually here when we're done doing everything else, but we're getting there. This is all up. Now I got to get the motor mount plate, get the motor mount in, and then, yeah, pretty well done up on this side then. Okay, progress update. We got this wire harness all back in place. We've got the motor mount in, got the jack out from under it. I just put this coolant hose on here. Gotta get ready. We should be able to fill it up with coolant now. Make sure nothing's gonna leak out of like the timing cover or anything, you know what I mean, before we put the oil pan on. I got all the plug wires routed. Got this bracketry all on. All of this is done. AC is bolted up. Tensioner is on. Pulley is on for the tensioner. Got to get ready to put the coil pack on next. Everything's here to put it on. And then we got to get these fuel lines done, which I've got on the table ready to go. I got to do them. I think that's it so far. Not it. It was a bit of work. I had to rejack the motor up on this side with some wood blocks to get it to line up with this mount. It is all tightened down. It's good to go. But yeah, we're making some progress. It's starting to look good up here again. No leaks so far. Obviously, it's got to bleed into like the heater core and all the crevices, and thermostat's shut, but it isn't leaking per se, which is a very good sign. Okay, I got this wire harness reroute. It's got to be over the coolant hose, my bad. Otherwise, it gets in the way of the little, whatever vacuum canister pump thing this is. It's got to be like a purge valve or a solenoid or something. Whatever. Got all the vacuum lines in as well. I got the new fuel lines made up, clamped on. That did okay. Breaking the clamps off the end, like for these fittings here. Usually when you're replacing them, they are usually the original 34-year-old hoses or whatever. And mine were corroded enough. I got a screwdriver and I just cracked them apart. They fell apart essentially. So got new fuel pressure hoses on there. Retain the original, you know, anti-rubbing, shielding, and all that good stuff. And then fuel pressure clamps. Good to go. I mean, we're looking pretty good here. I was procrastinating putting the oil pan on, and I actually started reading in on this 91 service manual, which technically isn't right, but it is. This is the one book I've got that has information on the second-gen all-wheel drive systems, and I was looking here at what needed to be done to service it and or at least check. And you've got three main parts here. You've got the power transfer unit, you've got the overrun clutch, and you've got the driveline module. And two of these take 85W90 if I remember right. Yeah, the transfer unit and the driveline module. And then the overrun clutch actually just takes ATF plus 4. It says ATF plus in 91, but ATF plus 4 is what it would take. And it looks like this one's pretty easy. There's a fill plug right there. It's got to be to the fill plug. It's like any rear differential. You fill it up to the fill plug. So I don't know if I want to like try suck the old fluid out and put new fluid in, or just make sure it's good. And, you know, if it looks like 85W90 or equivalent, as long as it's full, we'll run it, I think. We'll see. I don't know yet. I want to pop the fill plug out and take a look. And then obviously this guy right here, there's a fill plug right there. And that one's, you know, that. Anyway, here's some information if you guys want to pause and look at it. If you need this information, here it is. Otherwise, get yourself a book on eBay. I recommend it. Or Amazon or wherever. It's nice. I find it a lot easier than trying to read PDF manuals or whatever. Having a physical book in my hands is very nice. And then I don't have to, like, pull out my phone and, like, try to dig through my phone to find it again. I just, like, bam, book. And you can put bookmarks and stuff, you know, book things. But that should have all the information I need to take a look and figure out what's going on with our system, which clearly works because we put 1,100 miles on it and it's working fine. There wasn't any weird noises or shakes or vibrations. So I think it's just a matter of just checking and making sure it's all status quo. But there's that. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do the oil pan, and then I'm going to go to bed because it's like 9:30. And, you know, that's how it be. But I'd like to get oil in it, get it running quick before I go to bed. We'll see. No guarantees. Not that it makes a difference to you as I ramble on. It'll be like... Okay, so now that I've read up on the all-wheel drive system, and I kind of familiarized myself with it, I kind of know what's going on now, which is great. So I'm going to share that knowledge with you and share some things I've discovered while quickly looking at it. So I was worried when I had the oil pan off that big weird plug up there was a fill plug. It's not. So on the PTU, this is your fill plug right here. So he's accessible with the oil pan on, albeit it's actually way more accessible still with it off. But hey, this is accessible kind of. But I think we're still going to look at it while the oil pan's off. That'll make it a lot easier to look at. But this is your big PTU. He connects to your 41TE A604, whatever you want to call it. He just bolts up there. And then you've got your fancy all-wheel drive axle here. I believe, let's say you had an all-wheel drive van and your all-wheel drive system failed and these parts are kind of unobtainium. I think you can unbolt the PTU and hook or plug and bolt up a regular two-wheel drive, like axle shaft little guy, and I think you would be able to convert it to a two-wheel drive van that way. And then you just take the drive shaft out and then you leave the, what do you want to call the guy, the driveline, whatever you want to call him. Here, he's up here. Here's the name that I can't think. Driveline module. That guy. That's where your two rear axles hook into. And then, now we know the PTU's up here and where the fill plug is. Let's go take a look underneath here. And let's see if I can show you what I found. So, if you guys remember, up front there was a really cruddy looking vacuum line that I replaced. That is for all-wheel drive specific stuff. Anyway, he goes into a hard line. I replaced it. And he goes back here, right? And so he goes, if we get up above the gas, we're at the front of the gas tank looking back. Here is the drive shaft. And right there is the hard line right there. That's that same hard line right there. So, you know, that's a big vacuum sort of deal, right? He goes into this soft line here, which looks like original. It's pretty cruddy. Oh, huh, weird. It just stops. Isn't that interesting? And he's been rubbing on the drive shaft, and he's rubbed through. That is where he's supposed to go. Why is he disconnected? Interesting. Wonder what we have run into here. And then we've got a plug here that I just noticed now that it should be, like, right there and clipped in. Bam, fixed. So, what is going on that this is disconnected? Also, this mount here is shot. Just for reference here. I can move the whole thing up and down. That needs replaced. This vacuum line needs replaced and fixed, but what does that go to? It goes to this hard line, which goes, into that. What is that? Look at all this stuff. Interesting. So which one is he specifically? So it's that hard line up here. And then there's, that's the handle for the gas tank. That's that big yellow. So if you guys look up here, you tell me. So he goes right there into this, which goes into this little weird box, which then goes into all of that stuff, which then goes over here and up to, is this all the overrun clutch stuff? There's a vacuum solenoid here. What are the odds the all-wheel drive has been disconnected because of that and it's turned off? Because does the vacuum turn the overrun clutch off? Someone knowledgeable tell me what that does. Anyway, something is not right. It's not hooked up for whatever reason. We need to fix that. Hey, missing bolts that I've been missing. That have rolled back here. Sorry, I'm a squirrel. And I was missing some bolts earlier. And these are it that I was missing earlier. This is the alternator bolt. And I believe that is one of the motor mount bolts. Anyway, I was missing those. I replaced them with other bolts. Nice to see they're still here. Dang it. Anyway, that's that. And that right up here. Sorry, I'm kind of stuck. Mind you, this goes into the overrun clutch. Right down there. And that guy is clearly sopping wet, and he needs to have his fluid checked and topped off. See, he's all greasy. Now, where's his fill plug? His fill plug is right there next to the muffler. And then you get your driveline unit back here, which the fill plug is on the back side, like back up there. So, mind the terrible footage. I hope I didn't give too many of you nausea or whatever. And that, we're here. And that's it. And this system all needs to be checked because it's clearly seeping. It looks like the overrun clutch is seeping pretty heavily. So we need to make sure we check that. We need to fix that vacuum line, and then hopefully we don't have any issues with this overrun clutch. That would be good to know. I need to look up at what disconnecting the vacuum to the overrun clutch does. Or vacuum to, like, yeah, it's the overrun clutch stuff. I don't know. Look at all this vacuum modulator crap. They do things and stuff, and I'm going to fix it real quick and then check fluids and stuff. Yeah. That was pretty long-winded. Sorry about that. Anyway, here's my blown muffler. And there's the badly rotten shocks and stuff. Yeah. Okay, well, our all-wheel drive system clearly hasn't been maintained all that well, considering the vacuum line just open to air. So, cool, I guess, right? Well, I've got good news, I got bad news. Good news, I've got a vacuum line that's hooked up to the overrun clutch solenoid. The overrun clutch solenoid. So what that bad mess up there is called. Bad news, we're over here at the overrun clutch, and I've got the fill plug out. If we go in here and we do our darndest to get as low as we can, there's nothing. It's dry. Uh-oh. Maybe we know why that was undone. Maybe. There's nothing in it. Nope. Nope. Well, I might have found just a hint of fluid, and I was digging for it. So, what do I say about that? I don't know what to say. I'm looking at these lines. What does this go to? It's like this goes to nothing. Is that intentional? Does that intentionally go to nothing? Or is that like a service port, maybe? I don't know. All I'm saying is that there is no fluid in the overrun clutch. And that is a slight problem. I'm gonna go see if I can track down some 85 W90 or something close to it to put in the overrun clutch. Before we engage it, because we hooked up the vacuum line. Uh-oh. Okay. Interesting. That's not good at all. Yeah, what is that one that goes to nowhere? I don't know. There's some wizardry going on up here. What does this little canister do? I shouldn't poke him because I'll probably pop him and break it. Anyway, yeah, that's a problem. That's a big problem. This is why we are checking this stuff. So, yeah, we're going to fill that up with something. And then we'll move on and we'll check the drive unit, and we'll also check the front PTU. Well, I found one cord of 75 W90. That is going to be close enough to 85 W90. So I got it warming up on the stove here because it was in the truck. Anyway, I marked it at 1 quart just so I know, because I'm curious how much that overrun clutch is going to take, considering it's pretty well dry. So I'll let you know. It looks like this is starting to de-thaw because it's dripping. So I should probably remove that now, because that's going to stink. Figure you might want to see what we got going on. So I forgot that my little plunger guy here is not big enough. So I cut off a wiper jug and I poured a bunch into it. And we're about ready. You can see the grease is just up to the top here. So I should be able to do this one-handed, I think. So I'm going to pump this. Kind of don't got that much room in here, but let's see how much she takes. That's a lot. Oh, God. And we are slightly uphill. I don't mind overfilling it just a hair, considering it all leaked out. But this doesn't look very good. I'm about to be sad. It's completely empty. Must have a crazy leak. I think it's like 3/4 of a quart in here. So, yep, nothing's running out yet. Okay, now I'm slightly less confident in this all-wheel drive system. Wow. It was dry. I guess good thing it was not working, I suppose, right? Maybe? I don't know. Oh, God. It's still taking fluid. What the heck? Oh, my God. You gotta be kidding me. You didn't have anything in? I'm not gonna have enough to check the drive unit or anything, because I think that takes gear oil too. Because they don't share the same gear oil, right? I don't think so. I think they gotta be separate. I don't know. Oh, dear God. I mean, they both take gear oil, but, like, the chambers for them are not the same. They could be, I don't know. We could be filling both, to be fair. That would be interesting, I guess. Anyway, this is the fill plug, and it's supposed to come out of it, is all I'm saying. And I've pumped, like, 3/4 of a quart into this thing. I don't know how much it's supposed to take, like, capacity-wise, but, like, clearly we have a problem, Houston. And there's nothing in it. I'm gonna have to top off my fill pan here, because we might be getting full. Maybe? Do I see seepage? No, false alarm. You gotta be kidding me. Let me at least stick my Q-tip in here and see what we've got. No, look, it might be seeping. I don't think so. I think that's residual. So let me get my Q-tip here. And we're gonna go in. And we're gonna see where we're at. We're close. I would say that we're about there. So I'm gonna I guess I'll keep going a little bit, because I should have enough in there to finish it off. But anyway, what I'm saying is that I don't know what the capacity of that is, but it took over half a quart of 75 W90 is what we put in it. Yeah, we're gonna say that took almost 3/4 of a quart. Anyway, it's full, but as soon as I put the drain plug in, I think we know why it was empty. It's literally leaking out right now. Oh gosh. Yeah, it's literally dripping out as we speak. So, is that gap supposed to be there? Is there supposed to be a gasket there? What's going on? It's literally dripping out right now. Like, can I tighten these bolts and, like, fix that, you know? Like, I don't think there's supposed to be that gap there that is. You know what I mean? I don't know. All I'm saying is I might put a pan under it tonight, because clearly there's a problem. I'll have to start shopping for, like, seals for that. So we'll probably dump all the fluid out that we just put in it, but, you know. That's gonna need to be addressed. Alright, I got the plug off the driveline unit. It's a 15/16 and it's a plastic plug. I'm gonna use you guys to help me look up in there. Tell me what we see. What do you guys see in there? You guys see anything? That looks like fluid. It's a little low, but at least there's fluid in this one. Right? Yeah, that's fluid. But it's a little low, so we're gonna top it off with what's left of my gear oil, as all of my gear oil drips on the ground. It's forming a pretty big puddle now. But in here looks good. You know, that looks nice. So we'll top him off, so we don't have to worry about the driveline unit. It just looks like it weeps a little bit, which, that's okay. I'm okay with that. As long as it's not doing that. Okay, I have a currently empty catch pan under the overrun clutch. We will see what that looks like in the morning. Alright, what do you think comes out of this one? I don't think anything. Okay. Well, we're low. That... I can't tell. That kind of smells like gear oil too, but it also could be what's on my glove. Now that might be transfoot. I'm gonna get a little pokey thing, and I'm gonna go look and see what's in there actually. Can you guys see anything? You guys see anything in there? No? Anybody home? I don't think so. Okay, who was yelling at me that I messed up? Well, yeah, I messed up. So remember how I just said that kind of smelled like gear oil that was in the PTU? Well, because it's supposed to be gear oil. You know it's supposed to be in the overrun clutch that is currently dumping all of its fluid out? That's supposed to be ATF. So gear oil in the PTU, gear oil in the drive unit, ATF in the overrun clutch. So, you know, I goofed there a little bit. Granted, the stuff that was in the overrun clutch, or the lack thereof, it was black. So I don't know. That might have been running gear oil too. I don't know how much of it. I don't think it would make all that terribly much of a difference. I don't know. I'm going to have to do some research on that when I'm looking for seals for it, hopefully. Anyway, this is supposed to have gear oil in it. It's got some in it. It's a little low. I'm going to top it up, and that'll be that. I think our PTU and our rear drive unit are perfectly okay. We've got issues with our overrun clutch, being that the seal is blown out on it for sure. And for some reason, the vacuum was unhooked to it, possibly because of that. And that way they turned off the overrun clutch, because that just actuates the solenoid. Granted, if I'd have done that, I would have plugged it, so you didn't have a giant vacuum leak. But, that's just me. I don't... That's, whatever. Who cares, I guess. That's not my deal. Well, it is now. I fixed it. But, yeah, that's not too bad. 2 or 3, we're good. I guess I will have to... Well, we got to drain it anyway when we pop the overrun clutch out to do the seal on it, I guess. But that's going to be a task, I'm sure. I don't know. I've never done one before. We're going to learn together, I guess. Well, the PTU was lower than I thought. It took everything that I had left, which was like, what? A little more than a quarter quart. And it didn't quite run out, but also remember, the van is kind of raised up. And so I stuck a little bendy thing in there to check the level, and it's right up to it. So that, I'm going to consider the PTU full. Took quarter quart. The rear drive unit took a quarter quart. And then the overrun clutch took half a quart, maybe a little more. Well, no. The overrun clutch took just under 3/4 of a quart. And then I had a quarter quart left, and that went between the drive unit and the PTU. So they weren't too bad, the PTU and the drive unit. Those weren't too bad. They're full now. They're good to go. I consider them good for this winter, or, give or take. Let's check it next oil change, see where we're at. I don't think they're leaking all that much. They had plenty of fluid in it. And I know the last guy, I guarantee the last guy didn't service it. So last time there was service was before the guy I bought it from. Most likely. I highly doubt he serviced it. So. Now we just got the overrun clutch to worry about. Currently it's stripping all of its guts back out, which is okay, I guess. We got to do that anyway. It'll make less of a mess when there's nothing in it. But, that's got to get ATF4 after we fix the seal that's currently not good. Well, good morning, everybody. I've been busy here. I got the oil pan on. I got it tightened down. I got oil in it. As you can see, I've got the belt system all done. I got the crank pulley on, tightened down, torqued 40 foot-pounds, I believe. I'm sure there's a few other little things I buttoned up, but everything's off my parts table, except a few extra bolts, the cover for this guy mainly, and the bolts that I lost that I replaced with my spares that I found. So we got fluids in it. Coolant is full. It bled overnight. I think we're ready to start it up. I got the battery hooked up. Let's make sure that we get oil pressure, that it runs, that coolant flows, that it runs, and then we'll be able to move on to the next million tasks that we keep finding. But I want to make sure it runs first. So if we sit on down here, 189.06. All right, ready? Come on, oil pressure. A belt just popped off. That's not good. Well, we got oil pressure. I saw that. Did I mess up? Clearly. I thought that sounded weird. What did I snap the belt? I bet you I snapped the belt. I see a bunch of oil spray. What did I do wrong? Oh, I smell gas. That's not oil spray. It's gas leaking out of that fitting. That probably just jumped the belt. So we probably didn't break the belt. We just jumped the belt because Apparently that's not tight. Well, I guess things can't go right. Please be not broke, because this was expensive. Yep, belt's okay. It slipped the belt because apparently that is spraying fuel. Look at that. Okay, we got to fix that quick. And then we'll try again. Also, I'm going to have to re-undercoat that because it just dissolved all the undercoating. Great. It ran. I saw oil pressure. So that's good. Okay, maybe I have that address. That clamp was loose. That was my bad. This is precisely why I want to test things before I get my feet dug into another project. So let's prime it up first. Off. You noticed it kind of cranked with low compression on one cylinder. That's probably from all the oil draining out of the lifters. So it's got to repump those back up. I don't think that's leaking. I guess we'll know when we fire it up. Might have to address that a little more. But that's easy to do. We don't have to take anything apart for it. Now, I think we got oil pressure, so I think we're okay on that front. Oh, it sounds good now. There goes a wrench. Okay, we got pressure, oil pressure. Now let's look. Okay, belt drive looks okay. It definitely slipped it when it sprayed fuel out of here. I gotta dry that up and see if that's leaking still. It might be seeping. Kind of sounds like that new pulley's making noise, doesn't it? Something, yeah, I think it's still dripping a little bit. That's a little low, but that's not making noise. It sounds like it's running on 6. Water pump is clearly working. It sucks them down. I think it's just that AC pulley making noise. I know that's bad. Belt looks like it's riding on the pulley okay. It's riding on that one okay. It's actually riding on them better than it did. This is definitely still dripping, by the way. Yeah, we need to fill that. Sounds okay. There we go. Crank up. I suppose I had to fill the heater core. I'm gonna pop the door open so we get some flow in here, and I want to run this a little bit. I think I got a bad water pump. All of that for nothing. Well, not nothing, but you know what I mean. I'm gonna fire it back up. I looked at the pump. I'll let you listen to it. Oil pressure is great. Got no lights on the dash. Come down here. Hear that? Where's that coming from? Sounds like the water pump. The brand new one. Is the crank pulley out? Is that what I hear? I wonder if I don't got it pressed all the way in. I don't think I do. Look at that, that's riding kind of funny. That's probably what I hear is the belt rubbing on that. Which is also probably part of why it popped off. I'm gonna try fix that, that's not right. All right, I took the impact and I ran it the rest of the way home. That seems to look a lot better. I bet you that noise goes away now. Let's find out quick. Sound better? Yeah, that's a lot better. So that belt was riding funny on there, and we could hear it rubbing, and I think it was also binding the pump a little bit, you know, kind of pulling on it weird. That sounds a lot better. Still gotta fix that fuel issue, but a lot better. Well, I went to top off the power steering fluid, and I spilled naturally, and this belt really likes to throw itself off, because it slapped or threw the belt right off. I probably because of the paint on the pulleys, it makes it extra slick. I don't know, but we fixed the fuel leak because it's not leaking anymore. As you can see, it's dry. Well, I'll clean up the spill, put the belt back on. I want to run it, warm it up. So it sounded really quiet without the belt spinning, though. Okay, take 3, I think. Please may this be the last take, and let's not do this again. Thank you. Okay. Really good for that belt. There we go. Sounds good. Got oil pressure. We're charging. Half a tank of gas. Temp is down. So we need it to warm up, burp the system, make sure the heater core and everything works. Everything sounds okay down here. Just that AC pulley making a little bit of noise. Yeah, we gotta wear in these pulleys. That pulley could be spaced out, it looks like just a hair. Tensioner pulley's riding good. Alternator looks good. Harmonic looks like it's riding good. Water pump's good. Obviously we've got coolant flow because it drank more. Power steering is topped off. Let's not do that again. Let's top this off just a little more. And then we'll turn the heat on in the van. Let's get this thing heated up. Make sure we're not going to have any issues. So, rear heat, front heat. Looking good on the coolant. Looking good on the fuel. Not leak there, not leaking there. Not leaking there, not leaking there. The injectors look dry. We're not leaking down there. I don't see any like oil leaks, no water leaks. Looking good. That's all riding okay from down below. Sounds good. I think we're all right. And it probably runs a little smoother because we don't have that giant vacuum leak going back to the overrun clutch. So that's nice. I think we're looking good. I'll let it warm up. I'll bring it back if anything happens. Otherwise, consider it good. And we're going to get working on the tie rods and the CV axles next. That way we can get the front end all done. Oh, and the motor mount up front here. Then we can get the front end all done. Oh, and the fog lights too. See, I got lots of things to do. Now once we're done with that, we're gonna get it turned around. We're gonna do the rear brakes, and when we're doing the rear brakes, we gotta take the drive shaft off, get that overrun clutch off, and I've got a new seal on order for it. I got lucky, new old stock. I got it for 30 bucks when everything else I could find was listed for like 80, 90. I think it's the right seal based on the diagrams I was looking at, and we should be able to pull it apart and replace it. So that's good. As long as we didn't burn up the clutch when it was run dry. We ran it dry. Who knows how long it was run dry before that, you know? So anyway, we're looking good engine-wise. This all seems to be okay. It's running good. Sounds smooth. All right, I just put the brand new muffler on it. Noticed it was smoking out the middle than it was out the back, so we just put the new muffler on while it was warming up here. So it's good to go. See how long that lasts. Yeah, you can hear that AC pulley now that it's warming up. He's starting to growl. And I spun it while I had all this disconnected. You could feel it. It's kind of clicky. So, I think we're either going to run it till it pops, which is a bad idea, but you know, or run it till we lose Freon charge. I don't want to like disconnect it while it's got a charge. It'd kind of be a waste. Might as well burn it up. I've got another AC clutch, pull like the whole compressor. I think it's off the parts motor. It's got 111,000 on it. That pulley I did spin last night. It's good to go. So it'll be just a swap. And then, and if it survives until we run out of Freon, like if it's got a leak in the system somewhere that I don't know about yet, we'll be able to at least put a new pulley on it, but cross that road some other day. It's not too bad yet. I think the thermostat's starting to open. It's getting lukewarm here, and it's pushing some out. I got a catch pan underneath. But we're looking good otherwise, so far. Well, we got lukewarm heat coming out of the back and the front, so I think we're starting to, the heater cores are bled up. That's just good. Hopefully it stays warm. Oil pressure is looking fantastic. Sounds good. We're running good so far. Exhaust is going out the back and not through the middle of the muffler anymore, which is nice. It's actually quieter now that I've done that, which is great. So, oh, there with the thermostat. She opened up. I don't think it'll take all that much more, but we'll see. Yep, you can see it boiling. Yeah, look at that. So I think we got it bled. Yeah, it's getting warm. Good. I'll keep an eye on it for 5-10 more minutes is all I'm gonna run it. Then we're gonna shut it off, and that'll be that. This repair is all done. I don't know if I'll break up the video here, but I probably will, considering all the work we went through. So if that's the case, thank you guys for watching as we put boatloads of time and money into this beat, wore out 94 Chrysler Town Country. So hope you guys enjoyed the content. We'll be back obviously with more. We've got tons more work to do on this. Hopefully we'll get that all-wheel drive system all sorted. We've obviously got to get the front end sorted. Got to get in alignment. Actually align this instead of being lazy and not doing it like I do with a lot of things. I shouldn't say a lot, but some. I've been particularly lazy lately. I got to get this thing into a shop. So we got to get this thing undercoated. I will be doing that once I'm done working under it. I don't want to do it before I do all the work, you know what I mean? I got some rust to hide, so we'll do that with the fluid film black. Hopefully keep it from getting any worse, slow it down, that's the goal, until maybe we get to the point where we go in and repair the rust, or somebody else does. That's what we want to do. We want to keep it from getting worse. Anyway, the engine is running great. This thing is running as smooth as can be. I'm sure this had a lot to do with it. As you can see, we're steaming up, we're getting hot. I think we're bled. Yeah, she's hot. That's nice and hot. So we're gonna pop this cap on. I put it upside down. That's gonna bother me. Let me do that. There. Gotta get all your caps facing the right direction, guys. It's not hard. Do it. So, there we go. Thank you guys. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. That wraps this up on this motor reseal, you know, maintenance work. And I'll see you guys next time.